What is going on, wrestling fans? It is WWE at Home 219 here with my Raw review from March 25th, 2013. So let's get right into it. CM Punk with Paul Heyman would come out with the urn of Paul Bearer, basically cutting their promo again once for an opening promo for WrestleMania 29. CM Punk would drop the urn, and then you would hear the bung for the Undertaker. The lights would go out, and then the Undertaker would appear as the lights came back on, and you could tell that the Undertaker still had it in the ring as he started beating up on Punk, and we'd see Punk run away. Punk had some good words in there, a typical Punk heel promo, and it was a pretty good way to kick off Monday Night Raw, and I will give it an A minus. So then we would see Fandango take on, and once again you would not see Fandango take on anyone as Y2J would interrupt and attack Fandango for what he'd done the past two segments, Raw and on SmackDown. Fandango would run away, but this would then lead us into a Ziggler versus Y2J matchup. Jericho would take control early in this matchup before the commercial break, and then the Walls of Jericho, though, would end up winning it for Y2J, as he's gaining some momentum for his WrestleMania matchup against Fandango, which would be announced after this matchup. Big E would attack, who is he attack? Oh, yeah, Chris Jericho afterwards, and Fandango would take advantage of that and hit his finisher out going off top rope with a leg drop. The Ziggler and Y2J matchup, I'll give a B minus. So then we'd see Mark Henry take on the Usos in a handicap matchup, just basically your squash match to make him look good, leading into his match against Ryback that I'm not really too excited for, but it'll be pretty good, I think, at WrestleMania. And of course, he beats the Usos. I'll give it an F just for how short it was and how much of a squash match it was. Then we would see a champion versus champion matchup. The World Heavyweight Champion Alberto Del Rio would take on Antonio Cesaro, your United States Champion. Del Rio was in control early. Zeb Coulter would come out. Swagger would attack Ricardo during the match while it was going on, and that would distract Del Rio as Del Rio would attack Swagger, and it would lead into the stands. And Cesaro would get the win via countout in a matchup that I'll give like a D. So then we'd see the tag team champions, Team Hell No, take on the primetime players again. Dolph Ziggler and Big E would come out to scout this tag team matchup. Chokeslam would win it for Team Hell No as they would be given to Darren Young. In an average tag team matchup, it wasn't that bad. I'll give it a C. So then we'd see Triple H basically come out to cut a promo once again for WrestleMania. It was very short. It basically just said he's going to kick Brock Lesnar's ass. Not much to it. But Barrett would come out before Triple H really got out of the ring. And you can just tell Triple H is pissed off with Lesnar. So he just gave Barrett a kick to the balls. I don't get the point there. But yeah, I'll give the Triple H promo a D just because of how short it was. So then the next thing we would see is the Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett take on The Miz. I thought this matchup would be for WrestleMania 29. It still could be, but I feel like it's kind of dumb to put this matchup on Raw if we're going to see it in a couple weeks anyway. The Miz would attack the groin area of Wade Barrett early just because he got hit by Triple H. It was kind of a boring matchup to me. I don't know why The Miz as a face just bores me. And it was back and forth. A figure four would win it for The Miz. I'll give it a C minus. And then after that, we would see AJ attack Caitlyn as AJ overheard Caitlyn talking crap about her in the back room, which is pretty interesting. It could lead up for something, maybe even at WrestleMania 29 for the Divas Championship. So then we'd see the Great Khali, Justin Gabriel, Zack Ryder team up to try to face the Shield, but quick work was done by the Shield. They win this matchup. A matchup I'll give a C, nothing taken away from the wrestling. It was just very short. Then the next matchup would be Team Road Scholars versus Brodus and Tensai. Again, the girls would start getting into it again, the Bellas and the Funkadactyls. A Disaster Kick, though, would win it for Cody Rhodes and Damian Sandow's Team Road Scholars defeats Brodus and Tensai in a match I'll give a D. I'm just tired of seeing it. And then next we'd see a 1-on-3 handicap match, Ryback taking on 3MB. I was actually surprised how long 3MB competed in this matchup. It wasn't as terrible as all the other squash matches he usually has. A double shell shock would win it though for Ryback, which is pretty cool, and I'll give that a D as well. Then the last wrestling matchup of the night would actually be Divas, as AJ would take on the Divas champ Caitlyn. AJ would win via countout, but this is, I think, leading up, like I said, a matchup at WrestleMania 29, I would like to see because I enjoy watching both these divas in the ring. They're both pretty talented. This matchup, though, I'll just give a D minus. So then finally, our final segment, our promo, whatever you want to call it, was a question and answer with The Rock and Cena as 4 Hall of Famers. We're out there to ask questions. Booker T and Mick Foley, who are part of this year's class, and then past Hall of Famers Dusty Rhodes and Bret the Hitman Hart, which is cool to see all in one ring. It was basically questions just leading up to WrestleMania. Same old stories from The Rock and Cena as the beginning of the segment started, but then it started to started to really heat up, as you would see kind of signs of a heel Cena. I dare to say that. I don't think he's turning heel. I don't think he is anytime soon, but he just showed aggression, and that attitude that we saw from a heel Cena. It was very cool to see. Cena would basically say he beat himself. The Rock didn't beat him at WrestleMania 28. What I found funny, this is just a random point during this segment, is you just see CM Punk fans cheering Rocky, Rocky, and it's kind of ironic how he just beat your boy a month ago, and now you're jumping on the Rock bandwagon, even though he doesn't show up to every Monday Night Raw, and John Cena will. Um, it got a lot better, like I said, as the segment went on, and they would basically Cena and Rock would get into a stare down, and then a rock bottom was given to John Cena as John Cena tried to AA the Rock, but that would be reversed into a rock bottom. So the Rock's on top tonight, but will he be on top for WrestleMania 29? I don't think so. But that ending segment was pretty cool. Like I said, heelish type talking from Cena. It was very cool to see. It was very aggressive, and it was very tense in the ring tonight at that ending segment that I'll give an A. That ending segment, in my opinion, saved Raw because the wrestling was just tonight. And finally, there's being a built up for the WWE Championship now that The Rock's back, because we couldn't build up anything with The Rock not being there the past 2 weeks. Raw overall, I'll give a D minus. Like I said, the ending segment saved it for me tonight. Tell me what you guys thought about Raw down below right here. Like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter. Take it easy.